The next topic is motion of center of mass. Okay. So in this topic, we will study the motion of center of mass. Now, how to find the center of mass we have already know from the previous chapter that what is the center of mass and how to find the center of mass of different bodies. Okay. So in that chapter we know that center of mass is assumed as a single particle having the mass of the entire system. Okay. And we found center of mass of various linear bodies and planar bodies in the previous chapter. Now in this chapter we will see the motion of the center of the mass. So in the motion of the center of the mass, we will find the position of the center of mass, we will find the velocity of the center of the mass, and we will find the acceleration of the center of the mass. And with these, we will also study the laws of motion, because when we talk about motion, then we have to understand the laws of motion. So there are three laws of motion given by Newton. The first law of motion is the concept of inertia. The second law of motion gives the acceleration given by an application of external force. And third law is the reaction law, that every action has an equal and opposite reaction. Okay. And finally we will study conservation of linear momentum with an example. Okay. So how to find the center of the mass? This formula has been already discussed in the previous chapter. Now in this chapter we are studying the motion of the center of the mass. So for that, first we are assuming a two particle system. Okay. After this we will see for n particle system. So first of all we will see for a two particle system. So this motion can be observed in a linear term. Okay. Means this can be done with one axis. So we have chosen that axis as the x-axis, and the position of m1 is x10 and position of m2 is x20. Okay. So A and B are the point at which m1 and m2 are located. 0, 0 is the origin. Okay. Now the force that is happening, the internal force between A and B. Okay. The internal force acting between A and B is the attractive one. Okay. So both m1 and m2 are attracting each other, trying to pull each other. Okay. Now these two masses are in inertial frame of reference and are observed from an inertial frame of reference. Okay. So inertial frame of reference is the frame of reference on which no external force is acting. Okay. Means acceleration is equal to 0. So both frame of reference in which the motion is happening and that another frame of reference from which this motion is being viewed are inertial frame of reference. Okay, means no external force is acting and acceleration of both the frame of reference is equal to 0. Okay, now position of the center of the mass at time t when m1 is at x10 and m2 is at x20. So position is found using this formula which has been discussed in previous chapter. Now as the time increases, x1 and x2 changes. Okay, the position of m1 and m2 change, and hence the position of center of mass also change, because if you change the x1 and x2 value, then capital X value will also change. So the position of center of mass also change when x1 and x2 change. Now the velocity of the center of the mass v at any time t is equal to differentiation of the displacement with respect to time. Okay, so when you differentiate x with respect to time, you get this formula. And once again, acceleration is the rate of change of velocity. Okay, so double differentiation of the displacement with respect to time will give you this formula, and from this you can find the acceleration of the center of the mass. Now A1 is equal to internal force F by M1 and A2 is equal to minus of F by M2. Why? Because sign convention has been chosen this way. Okay, so this is in this direction it's negative, and in this direction it's positive. Okay, so if you are moving in the right hand side it's a positive, and if you are moving in the left hand side then it's a negative value. Okay, that's why A1 is equal to F by M1 and A2 is equal to minus of F by M2. Okay, so when you put in the acceleration formula of the center of mass, you get the value as 0. Okay, so null vector or 0 vector has been obtained. Now this means that the velocity of the center of the mass is constant. Okay, and it's not changing with time. So this means it is in velocity is constant means inertia. Okay, so particles can individually move or accelerate due to internal forces between them, but center of mass will remain at inertia without the application of any external force. Okay, now we will consider a planar motion. So planar motion requires two axes, so it's a biaxial or 2D, because a plane is a 2D figure. Also rectilinear because the axes are perpendicular to each other, means x and y axis. So now we will see a motion in xy plane or a 2D plane, any 2D plane, xy, yz, zx, anyone. So once again, this is a case of n particles, and we have to find the center of mass and understand the laws of motion using this. Okay, so now we are considering a system of n particles. Okay, and like in the previous case, this system is also an inertial frame of reference. Means this frame of reference in which the motion is happening is also an inertial frame of reference, and this inertial frame of reference is being viewed from a point which is also an inertial frame of reference. Okay, so for both frame of reference, acceleration is equal to 0 and velocity is equal to constant. Now we have to focus on the kth particle. Okay, of mass mk with position vector ri or rk. Okay, now each particle is acted upon by forces due to another n-1 particles and due to forces outside the system. Okay, So now when force is acting on the system, it is not an inertial frame of reference now. Okay. So only the frame of reference from which this motion is being viewed is the inertial frame of reference. Okay. So now we are considering the motion of n particles, and each of the n particles are subjected to internal forces due to other n minus 1 particles. Okay. And also to external forces F external. Now acceleration of the kth particle is given by AK is equal to 1 by mk. Summation k is not equal to L. FKL plus Fk external. Now this is the Second's law. And Fk not equal summation k not equal to L. FKL means the force of the particle accelerate other particle but cannot accelerate itself due to its own force. Okay. It means FKL means what? FKL means force experienced by K due to L. Okay. So K does not, it can never be FKK. Okay. Means K will not experience the force that it applies on another bodies, and similarly L does not feel the force applied by itself. Okay. So rearranging the formula, we get MAK is equal to summation of FKL and summation of Fk external. Okay. So here the FKL is the force on the kth particle due to the lth particle, and Fk external is equal to vector sum of all external forces acting on the particle. Whatever the particle it is, if the kth particle, then all the forces acting on the kth particle, and summation means over the system. Also, how this FKL summation of FKL is equal to 0? Because the attraction force that the every other particle is attracting every other particle, so that's why the summation of FKL becomes 0. Why? Because the force which K is attracting L is opposite to the force with which L is attracting K. Okay, so this is the Newton's third law. Okay, means every action has a reaction whose magnitude is equal to that of the action, but direction is opposite to that of the action. Okay. So FKL plus FLK is equal to 0, and the resultant of internal forces is equal to 0 because they cancel each other in pairs. Okay. So the net external force acting is equal to mass of the system into acceleration of the center of the mass. Okay. Which is done by the summation of mi into ai, I1 equal to n. So the motion of the center of the mass of the system is not affected by the actions of internal forces. Okay. So in any system, if the acceleration is happening, the acceleration is happening due to external forces, because internal forces cannot accelerate any body. And if these external forces add up to 0, then the system will be in inertia. Okay, the center of mass will not have any acceleration, and this is known as inertia, which is the first law of motion. When the resultant of the external forces do not add up to 0, the center of mass is accelerated. Okay, when ACM is not equal to 0, means the system is accelerating, and this acceleration is given by ACM is equal to F external by capital M, which is the mass of the system, mass of the total particles. Capital M is mass of the system or mass of the total particles. Thus, the motion of the center of the mass of a system is equal or identical to the motion of the single particle mass equal to the mass of the system of particles, which is acted upon by the external force F external. Okay. This means only same thing, that center of mass is assumed as a single particle which has the mass of the entire system, and now this single particle is acted upon by F external. So whatever the motion this center of mass will go, that motion will be achieved by the whole body. Now law of conservation of linear momentum. So law of conservation of linear momentum is an extension of Newton's second law, okay, or first law, because the system will be in inertia, F external is equal to 0, so linear momentum is always conserved. Because velocity is constant and mass is constant, so linear momentum is constant. Summation of, so laws of linear momentum. So linear momentum is given by a small p, which is the product of mass into velocity. Linear momentum has a direction of the velocity. Okay, so whatever the direction of the velocity is the direction of linear momentum. Linear momentum associated with n particle system is equal to vector sum of the linear momentum associated with each of the particle. That which means P total, which is the total linear momentum, is equal to summation of individual linear momentum associated with the particles, which is the differentiation of summation of MRCM or MIRI summation, okay, which will give you by differentiation MVCM. So the total linear momentum is equal to mass of the system into velocity of the center of the mass. When the vector sum of all external forces acting on the system is equal to 0, the center of the mass moves with a constant velocity. Okay. This is the inertia part. So P total is equal to MVCM is equal to constant, both magnitude and direction. This is known as law of conservation of momentum. Now we see one example. So in this example, we are assuming a radioactive nucleus as a single particle, which will burst into two particles having mass small m and capital M. But all this will happen due to internal forces, because no external forces is applied on this system. The bursting is happening due to internal causes. Okay. So linear momentum is conserved. So whatever the initially the linear momentum was will be the final. Okay. So M plus M VCM together, they were together. Capital M and small m were together. That's why capital M plus a small m into VCM is equal to, finally capital M will have velocity v1 and a small m have velocity v2. So summation of final linear momentum will give capital M into v1 plus a small m into v2. Now if the velocity of center of mass is equal to 0, means the left hand side is equal to 0, then you will get small m into your capital M into v1 is equal to minus of small m into v2, implies v1 is equal to minus of small m into v2 by capital M. Okay. So that how it ends here. Thank you.